All right, guys, morning after. I'm about to get my coffee ready and prepared. 6 o'clock in the morning. I don't know when this video is going to get uploaded. I got some stuff I got to try to do, so but I'll try to get this videos uploaded as much as possible, at least before the afternoon. But morning after always sucks, man. During a loss, of course, I'm repping my Alabama gear. Um, like I said, Link apparel is coming in the mail pretty soon. Um, This loss sucks, guys. This loss really, really does suck. It hurts a lot more, especially now we're coming, especially coming from a standpoint where, we just left so many opportunities on the football field, left us so many opportunities. We had so many chances to put this game away in the fourth quarter. We just did not do that. Um, I think another thing too that I'm waking up in the morning kind of finding out for some reason there's a lot of Auburn fans talking a lot of shit lately. This is an Auburn fan base that that honestly should be ashamed of themselves. I mean, again, you can't beat Alabama on the field, so I guess your only victory is to beat them on social media, but you can't beat them on the field when it really matters most. But when you've had three subpar seasons and when your football program has been extremely irrelevant and you lose to New Mexico State and you got absolutely just shellacked in your bowl game against Maryland, I guess that's where you got to take your victories. But for the most part, guys, I don't know. These players are hurting. These players are hurting very, very badly. To Dallas Turner, I mean that was the quickest I'm declaring for a draft moment I have ever seen. We've heard some rumblings that there were players that walked out the locker room to even do interviews and they had to get pulled right back in. There was so much emotion, a lot of crying, a lot of tears. These guys, man, are hurting it very, very badly. And I think again when these guys take a look at the tape, it's going to be even worse because when they take a look at the tape, there's going to be. I think there's going to be a lot of ass chewings, a lot of player. Now I'm not talking from coaches to players. I'm talking from player to player. There's going to be a lot of ass chewing from player to player. There's going to be so much because we did not play our best game. Quite frankly, we just didn't do it. Now Michigan either. Michigan had a lot of missed opportunities themselves, and they didn't play a perfect end either. But it's all about at the end who executes in the fourth quarter. And quite frankly, when it mattered most and late in the fourth quarter, Michigan was able to make their execution. But I think, again, coaching staff-wise, Nick Saban's there's going to be a lot of ass chewing from this coaching staff. Because, offensive line-wise, guys, we weren't prepared. Like, we didn't just lose to them as far as dealing with physicality. We lost to them schematically. Michigan had a lot of stunts, and they had a lot of they tried to hide some of their disguised blitzes. But even then, I look back at the game a little bit, like a lot of their blitzes weren't even. It was pretty simple. I don't know how we just couldn't really pick it up. But when you take a look at the schemes that we had trouble with in the beginning of the season to what we went towards late in the season, like we're much of a. I think we're more of a zone scheme that has a power body. Like we have power body type guys. We built our offensive line. We tried to, establish more of a power scheme, but I think what kind of works for us is a little bit more of the zone scheme. But it just seemed like the more shit that they a lot of their stunts, a lot of the things that they were trying to disguise, it threw us off. It completely threw us off. It was so many failed pickups from our offensive line that it's baffling. So schematic wise, we lost on both sides. Sherrod Moore and Jesse Minter outcoached Kevin Steele and outcoached Tommy Rees. Now, again, both coaches made adjustments. Both coaches did the best that they possibly could in order for us to get the win. But ultimately, we got outcoached for 4 quarters, and we caught breaks. But it was more sustainable from Michigan than it was for us because Michigan, they had long, methodical drives. In the first half. Then the third quarter, they couldn't do that. They really couldn't do that much. That's where the adjustment really came for Kevin Steele. We got to give him a lot of credit. But then late in the fourth quarter, you could just see it coming. Yes, Michigan was getting 3 and outs. They weren't scoring, but you can see a lot of the things that they were setting up, a lot of the things that they were doing with the pin and pull, a lot of the counter plays, a lot of the stuff that they were doing. It's like we weren't ready for it. We weren't preparing for it. It seemed like we were preparing, like we watched maybe 3 to 4 games that we weren't considering exactly what Michigan were going to do. I think we forget, guys, Michigan also had a month to prepare. They also had a month to prepare. And we didn't take that. And I think that for the most part, we did not do a good job preparing. We didn't do a good job preparing. And like I said, this is not This is not usual. Nick Saban, I mean, normally when you give Nick Saban a month to prepare, he always practically wins. But, the first round of the playoffs, semifinals against Ohio State, we did a phenomenal job against Ohio State. We out-schemed them, we outplayed them, and we capitalized off of so many of their mistakes in that first half. Remember, it was 21-6. But then the second half came, and Ohio State completely switched everything up, and then we got out-schemed, outplayed, out-physicaled in the second half. And Ohio State, they scored third. I think they scored well over, I think it might have been 13-21 going in the first half. But Ohio State scored a lot of points going into the second half. So it happens. This is not, these games happen. And, it's just this game even hurts more because I felt like we should have won this game. I felt like in the fourth quarter, we had 3 drives in the fourth quarter that we were moving the chains. We got Michigan out their zone scheme. We were making them make adjustments. We had them on the ropes, and we simply let it go. Why? Penalties. A penalty by Seth McLaughlin. I think it was a false start. It was a false start on Seth McLaughlin. I think it was another illegal formation. Then Jalen Merrill fumbled. All 3 drives, we had the momentum. We were driving down the field, and we stopped ourselves because of penalties. And that's just not going to win you football games. And Michigan, again, both teams made critical mistakes. But ultimately, Michigan, when it mattered most, were perfect on their last couple of drives, and we weren't. And that was the reason why we lost. That was the reason why we lost the game. Michigan it was more sustainable for Michigan at the end of the day because they out-schemed both of our coaches. That's why they won. It was way more sustainable for them, and it wasn't for us. What could happen next is first of all, we got to figure out who's going to stay here. Because I think that's the first thing that we have to prioritize. There's going to be a lot of emotional players. This was a very emotional game. A lot of these players, in the way how they were in December, these guys it felt like it was the perfect storm. It felt like it was the perfect storm for this team to win a national title. And to see it just ripped apart, thrown in your face because of so many things. And again, there'll probably be defensive players that will blame offensive players. There'll be offensive players that will blame defensive players. There's going to be a lot of blame. There's going to be a lot of emotion. And I think players are going to make irrational decisions. I think there's going to be a lot of irrational decisions from these players. And I think you'll see players that will enter the portal that will remove themselves out. And I think you'll have players that will enter the portal and simply just go away. You'll have players declare. And who knows, maybe some players will undeclare, but then you'll have players that will just declare early because they just want to get away from the scene. It happens. Like, this is life. These type of situations happen, but that's the first thing we got to worry about is who's staying and who's leaving. I think that's the ultimate decision. And we'll go from there. Like I said, I'm still excited about this roster. I'm still excited about Ty Maurice in his second year working with Jalen Merrill. I'm not going to give up on Jalen Merrill. However, I will say this. If he doesn't improve, if we see that Ty Simpson's out playing him in spring and fall camp, then we simply need to go with that decision. But if Jalen Merrill but I do believe that he can progress. I do believe that he can become a lot better as a quarterback and as a thrower because, quite frankly, we have to. Look at the Washington game. Look at their offense. Look, again, they're not more talented than Texas. I don't think that Washington has a better front than Texas. But guess what happened? Styles make matchups. And if we played Texas, let's be honest, we played Texas yesterday, we would have lost the game. Because the same crap that lost the game, that we lost of how we lost to Texas in week 2 was the exact same crap that got exposed against Michigan. The exact same problems. Literally almost the exact same scenarios of how we lost is exactly how we lost to Texas, right? Couldn't make adjustments on the fly. Couldn't really cater to Jalen Merrill. Offensive line not protecting him. Receivers can't really develop the routes, and when they did develop it, Jalen Merrill can't read it because he can't get off of his first read. Defense is holding their own. Yes, they're getting out schemed, but they're also holding their own. It's more bend don't break. Then the fourth quarter comes. Bama's offense gives them a lead. Alabama's defense falters apart. Offense can't get it going because of a lack of a passing game, and that's how we lost by 10 points. The exact same situation, the exact same scenario happened against Texas. So that's why if we played Texas again, we would have lost. It's just styles make matchups. And You know, we gotta if we're gonna win a national championship, we have Jalen Murrow is gonna have to develop. We're gonna have to take that. We're gonna have to take that next step. And it's not just Murrow; it's Tommy Reese. We're gonna have to take that next step, and we have to develop a better passing game. We're gonna have to develop a better passing game. We tried to go old school. We tried to go traditional. We tried to bring back that bully ball mentality, and it didn't work. That's just not going to get. That's not going to get us a national title. The way that Washington's offense played is how we played the last when we had Mike Locksley and when we had Lane Kiffin and how we had Steve Sarkisian. That's in today's modern game. That can win you national championships. Can you win with Michigan's method? Yes. But again, it's not just old school. Sherrod Moore and Minner are modern NFL coaches that can scheme, that can call a game plan like no other. Sherrod Moore's schematic and his game plan was excellent. A lot of the wrinkles that incorporated, a lot of misdirection, a lot of pre-snap, a lot of counters with their pin and pull. Beautiful by Sherrod Moore of how he was able to orchestrate that offense. So this whole 2009 crap mentality, I don't think is going to get us a national championship. We're going to have to develop a better passing game. We're going to have to develop a better passing offense. We're going to have to develop Jalen Murrow as a passer. And if he can't do that, then we're going to have to move on. But I believe in Murrow, I believe in Reese, and I believe that this team can get back to where we need to get to. Next year, like I said, is going to get a lot tougher. Yeah, it is what it is. So the morning after, the morning loss even sucks more, but I'm still going to be here. I'm still rocking the Bama gear. And let the naysayers talk all the shit that they want, because at the end of the day, they want to be in the position that we are. They 8 playoff appearances or 9 playoff appearances, 6 national championships. The entire world flourishes when Bama loses. So let the naysayers talk all the stuff that they want, because they know that the tide will be back.